Hey guys, Luna here, and welcome back to our life. Last we left off, we did a wave and growing. So let's just move on to family now. The sun warmed your skin from its place in the sky, and you closed your eyes, enjoying the mix of the heat with the pleasant breeze that drifted past you. You and Lee had spread out on a blanket on top of the hills behind your house, and had been relaxing there for a while now. Lee had come over early in the day, and while a range of activities had been discussed, from staying home to heading down to the beach, a picnic on the hill had been your choice, the choice you both settled on. A small spread was laid out in front of you, some bottled water, soft drinks, as well as chips and sliced fruit. You sat up and reached for a snack, listening to Lee talk about the musical she had gone to see a few days ago. It was unbelievable. There was singing, dancing, and crazy stunts. It was all done right in front of my face. That sounds pretty crazy. Maybe one day we could go together. I gotta see more shows like that. You smiled at Lee's enthusiasm, knowing how much she enjoyed singing and performing. And she was good at it too. You had gotten a chance to hear her sing a couple times, and you knew she put a lot of effort into it. You also liked to sing, but you weren't very good. That didn't stop you from doing it, though. I wonder if maybe we can put on our own show. Think how fun it would be. We could perform with our parents and ask our friends, and some other people could watch and come and watch too. Would totally work. Be embarrassing. You hadn't performed in front of an audience in your life, and you didn't want to start now.
Are you sure?
Are you really super sure? You have so many skills you could show off to the masses. I'd rather do something else. Lee seemed a little disappointed, but she nodded and respected your wishes all the same. What did you have in mind? The two of you laid back in the blanket and lazed in the sun, throwing ideas back and forth on what you could fill your time with. The beach was nearby, so you could go swimming or collect shells, or find something to do back at home after all. In the end, nothing was as tempting enough to move from your current position, so you continued chatting with Lee and nibbled on your snacks while the sun traveled in the sky overhead.
Alright.
So how's your neighbors doing? You haven't spoken about them lately. You knew Lee wasn't talking about neighbors generally, or down the street. She wanted to hear about the Hogans across the road. It was no secret that she liked to keep up to date on what was happening with them, or more specifically, Cove. There weren't many other people your age around to talk about. They're great. That's good. I hope I get to see Cove again. She was wanting something juicier, but it couldn't be helped. Lee loved to chat about other people's relationships and would always ask you for the details on people you both knew. Hey, did you want to see if Cove would join the picnic? I like it just being us sometimes. Lee lit up, her smile spreading across her face. Yeah, we're the best. The sun slowly began to set, the sun turning a rosy pink, and then warmed to orange. Too bad Derek is in the neighborhood today. I like him. Yeah, he's a good person. I knew you'd think so. So, exactly how much do you like him? Or maybe is there someone else I haven't heard of yet? Lee wiggled her eyebrows at you suggestively, and you knew exactly what she was implying. I have a crush, yeah. Lee's eyes sparkled an instant, like she just hit the jackpot. What? Who is it? I'm not giving you a name. Tell me something else about them then. This news was just too exciting. She wasn't going to be deterred. You weren't surprised when Lee started squeezing you for more details, and you answered as much as you were comfortable with. The two of you talked about your preferences and who you liked and stuff. You found that it was nice having someone to speak with about these sorts of things. Finally, both of you decided to pack everything up and head home back for the evening. Upon walking through the front door, you were met by your moms and Elizabeth hovering around each other in the living room. Tension hung thick in the air as the three of them turned to you and Lee, frowning slightly. You had interrupted something. Exactly what? You weren't sure. Hello?
Oh.
Hi, Luna. Hello, Lee. Welcome back. The room felt quiet again, with no one quite knowing what to say. You felt incredibly awkward, but the silence didn't last long. You don't have to keep it a secret because those two are here. There's no reason to try to try keeping it a secret. Elizabeth was mad, with her arms folded defensively over her chest, but your mom's not in agreement with her.
Well...
Elizabeth was asking about her parents. Her biological ones. The world spun around you at the news. You couldn't understand. Why was this happening now? When you glanced at Lee, she shuffled her feet uncomfortably, as though she didn't know if she should be there or not anymore. You didn't know either. Your moms had always been open and honest about the fact that neither of them had given birth to you or your sister, but the details hadn't been fully explained before. It made sense that Elizabeth didn't know a lot about her biological parents and wanted to know more. You just hadn't ever thought that you'd accidentally stumbled into it. Elizabeth looked at your parents expectantly. She wasn't going to let the unintentional interruption derail things. We don't want to keep the information from either of you. It's your right to know your past, but we did want to wait until you asked us to hear yourselves. Well, it's happening now, so... Your mom shared a nervous glance, and Ma took a quick breath before speaking again. I adopted you from the Philippines when you were just a baby. Elizabeth dropped her arms, her eyebrows shooting upwards in surprise. Wait, I wasn't born here?
No.
No, you weren't. You clearly see your sister was appalled by this information. You were struggling even more with what to do or how to react. Am I going to have to pass some tests to even be a citizen?
No.
No, you were adopted into the country. We took care of things. You're already a citizen. You have nothing to worry about. I followed all the laws when it came to bringing a child into the U.S. Nothing can be held against you. Elizabeth sighed, placated with the information, but still far from happy. Who are my parents? As people, why did they put me up for adoption in the first place? Ma softly put her hands over Elizabeth's shoulders, trying to provide some support before she gave her the answer.
I'm so sorry.
I'm so sorry, sweetie. Your parents were reported to have died. They didn't go into the details and the specifics of how, but you were an orphan. I wish we had better news for you, Elizabeth. Elizabeth was torn between her emotions. Her eyes were filled with tears as she threw her hands in the air, setting on her rage. Great, so I can never meet them even if I wanted to. Not that I could have, anyway, since they lived in another part of the world where they still would have been alive. Elizabeth turned her back on you and her mom stormed off, sprinting up the stairs into her room before anyone could stop her. I have to go talk to her. Mom immediately started to follow her, but Mom gently held her by the arm and shook her head. We should give her a little space to process it all. Your mom's head hung low, but she stopped walking. With Elizabeth now gone, the two of them seemed to remember you and Lee were still standing awkwardly off to the side. I'm sorry you had to see all that. It's not how I expected it would have happened when the time came. But since it's the topic of the day, Luna, is there anything you'd like to ask? You deserve to know, after all. Lee patted you back and gave you a supported look. Yeah, I kind of want to know. Your parents both nodded in sync to your reply and ready to talk. I can leave if you want things to be more private. I want you to be here. I can do that. Lee shifted a little closer to you in support, and you were glad to have her there with you. It made you feel a little stronger somehow. You turned to face your parents again, preparing yourself for what they were about to tell you. Ma was the first to speak, her voice quivering with emotion. You were adopted as a baby, but 2 years after Elizabeth. We used a different organization that time, and you were adopted within the U.S. We're sorry to tell you, Luna, but your parents had also passed away, and no other family members took you in, if there were any. That's why we wanted to wait until you were asked. We didn't want it to suddenly drop that in your lap. We wanted you to be prepared.
I'm sorry.
We're sorry, Luna. Lee gave you a reassuring squeeze on the arm to show that she was there for you. It's not your fault. You didn't kill him, right? You were trying to lighten the mood, but your mom didn't seem any less grim. Thank you for listening, Luna. If there's anything else you want to know, all you have to do is ask. We'll do our best to answer any questions you have.
Are you okay?
How are you feeling now? Are you going to be okay? Lee watched you closely as though judging how exactly should she react to what's going on. Yeah, I feel fine. You spoke with a refreshed tone, as though you had a load off. Your mom smiled sadly, but you knew they believed you. No one seemed to have any words after that. I guess I want to see Elizabeth to see how she's doing. You were worried about Elizabeth. Even though she had been so angry when talking about your moms about everything, you could see she was clearly sad. You headed over to the stairs and up to her room. You asked Lee to go up with you. She nodded and followed near behind. Waiting in front of your sister's door, you raised a hand to knock it. There was no answer for a good minute or two, and when you jiggled the handle, you found it was locked. Raising your hand again, you knocked loudest this time, thinking she must have had her headphones on so she couldn't hear you. When she didn't answer the door the second time, it was clear to you that she still couldn't hear or was just straight up ignoring you. It had to be shut out, especially right now. I guess you went up to your room. When safely behind your closed bedroom door, you let out a heavy breath before heading over to take a seat on your bed. Lee watched you from where she sat on your desk chair and gave a sad sigh of commiseration. You guess she didn't really know what she could do to help, but she was still trying to be supportive any way she could. So what do you want to do? Can I help? Just thanks for being here. I'm happy to. She paced over and sat next to you on your bed, and you sat quietly together as time passed. Sound knocked your attention, causing you to sit up straight. When you realized it wasn't coming from the door, but the window, your head snapped toward it. Lee did the same thing, looking a little uncertain if she should be worried about this development or not. You didn't even have a question on who it was. There was only one person who would come tapping at your window, especially at night. You moved the chair closer and looked out. Sure enough, seeing the familiar head of her green hair on the other side of the glass. In only a moment, you had the window unlatched and opened for him to enter. Cove pulled himself in through the window awkwardly, groaning before he stood straight in your room and dusted himself off. Lee tried not to let the display break the seriousness of the situation for her. Cove, what are you doing here? When he saw you, he seemed worried and ran a hand through his hair before speaking. I came to the front door, but I just wanted to come by. But your moms told me they didn't know if you should be bothered right now, that I should come back later. I know they wouldn't have said it like that if you were worried Sorry, just allergies are being rough to me right now. Just gonna drink a little bit of water. Okay, much better. I knew they wouldn't have said it like if you were working on some schoolwork or whatever. So I got worried. I thought something bad happened. And then you climbed the side of my house. He smiled, feeling unrepentant for discarding your mom's ruling.
I mean,
how else was I supposed to get in? You couldn't quite believe he'd really shown up for you like this. But then again, you shouldn't have been surprised. He was always there for you.
Are you okay?
Well, what happened? Cove pulled your desk chair next to your bed, sat down, his long legs bent in front of him. You fidgeted a little with your bed covers, not sure, knowing what exactly to say, but he was willing to wait. Thanks for coming. I'm glad you're here. Cove's forehead forward in concern at your words. My mom and dad, the ones who gave birth to me, they're dead. Without having to say anything else, Cove reached out and pulled you into a tight embrace, his familiar warmth enveloping you. I'm sorry, Luna. His words were whispered comfortably into your shoulders. You don't have to do this. Yes, I do. He didn't have to say anything more, but he didn't let go either. Could you explain everything to me? You nodded softly before taking in a heavy breath and launching into the story. Cove sat quietly and listened attentively, nodding every now and then or taking in a sharp inhale. Silence settling between you and Cove, as Cove sat quietly for a moment, contemplating everything you had said. When he finally spoke, his voice was quiet, drifting through the night towards you.
Luna!
Aww, precious baby!
I'm so sorry.
I'm really sorry about what happened to your parents. So sorry. He stopped suddenly and took a deep, shaky breath, and you got the impression he was struggling with what was right to say. I feel bad that I don't feel worse about it. I never knew them at all. They're strangers, even if they did have me.
Luna!
You're not doing anything wrong, you know that, right? I think that you can be as sad as you want for as long as you need. You can feel okay about whenever you want to, too. He sighed and ran a hand through his hair and looked out toward the window.
It's okay.
I guess what I'm trying to say is, whatever you feel about it is how you feel about it, and you don't have to try and force yourself to be different. Thank you, Cove. His words had made you feel better, and you knew it was true. You didn't have to apologize or make any excuses for the way you felt about it all. Cove smiled at you a little, and you could tell he was trying to be comforting. And your moms definitely don't. It doesn't matter if you're not blood related or you're definitely family. I can see that, and I hope you can too. You felt the reassurance in his eyes. Your cousin tried not to interrupt your explanation or Cove's response to it. When the opportunity arose, she made it clear she shared the same sentiments. A knock on the door made you look up, though before you could even move, it swung open and Elizabeth stood in your door frame. She was walking close, and he didn't know what quite to do or what she was planning on saying.
So?
Would you mind going? I want to talk to just Luna. You can come back. It's not going to be forever or anything. Cove seemed equally parts concerned and skeptical. Leaving now wasn't a concept that thrilled him. Lee wasn't exactly jumping to go, so she checked with you quietly. What do you think? I want to talk to you too.
Really?
Oh, then we're on the same page. She made a little move-along gesture with her hands, and it was settled. You waited until the two or you were alone before fixing her with an inquisitive look. Elizabeth folded her arms, looking you over. Did Moms tell you about your parents, too? My birth parents also died. Elizabeth broke eye contact after that.
Sorry.
Why did you want to talk to me? I went to see you and you didn't even answer. Elizabeth raised an eyebrow at the news.
What?
I didn't hear anything. Shuttering everything out with loud music was very typical of your sister. You didn't feel much less confused, though. Why did you stop doing that, then? She shook her head as though the answer should be obvious. I was worried about you. I was the one who brought it up, but I made you deal with whatever had left when I was gone. She sighed, glancing upward for a moment before settling on you once more. I want to ask you what happened without everyone breathing down our necks. Thank you for thinking of me. She stuck up her nose a little at that, but her smile was soft. I'm okay, Elizabeth. It didn't upset me. How are you allowed to be that mature? The lightning spirits in her were quickly gone as she slipped back into a scowl. You have to be born in the U.S. to become president. What? You had never heard that it was a dream of hers before. She noticed your bafflement and continued. I get I was never going to be president, but it just feels weird. Having stuff taken away, not even getting a chance at it. I don't feel like having to know that when I was born I was going to have a completely different life. So different I can't even think about what it would look like in my head. Could have spoken another language, lived away from everything I ever seen here, and had somebody else as my sibling. And then my parents died and I was adopted, and then the life I became a totally new thing forever. I can't go back to that, what it was, even if I wanted to. Having this settle between you and the person who became your sister. You knew exactly how she felt. It was a confusing feeling, to have lived one way for so long, as you can remember, but not having it be what was originally yours. Elizabeth watched you seriously. She was still trying to make sense of this to you and herself. I don't know why today was the day. Nothing came up to make me ask the question. It was just something I had in my head for a while. When it was just me and Mom's in the living room, I kind of just said it, finally, and there you go. She shifted from one foot to another, relaxing her stance just a bit. She also spoke more gently. Learning about them and what happened doesn't change how I feel about our family, Luna. She smirked, fixing you with sharp eyes. I already figured out a long time ago that our moms weren't our biological parents. That was the news. Technically, one of them could have been related to you. Our moms can have kids, just not both together. True, but I'm not half white or native Hawaiian, so no, neither of them could have been my mom.
Nice try.
Nice try, smart aleck. Nothing about the family I was born into would have made me decide that this wasn't my family anymore. If you had hoped you'd be free of my big sisterly status, don't think you're so lucky. She bumped your shoulders against yours playfully, her lips tilted at the corners.
You'll always be my little sibling.
Aw, that's sweet. You hugged her. It took a few seconds, but she gave you a quick squeeze in return. I think I'm really lucky. Chuckling, she seemed pleased with how the conversation gone in the end. We should probably head downstairs and make sure Mom's okay. It's been a long day for everybody. Gave her a nod. Down we go. You met up with Lee and Cove just outside the room and made the short trip down to the lower floor of your home together. The familiarity of it felt nice. When you stepped into the living room, we found your moms quietly sitting there together at the kitchen table. They both got to their feet when they noticed their arrival, and Ma gave you a careful smile. Are they gonna say anything about Cove, though? That is the question. It seemed they were too concerned to really register that Cove was inexplicably here now, despite being turned away at the door earlier. We're so glad to see you. Everything's alright. That's wonderful, sweetheart. Really wonderful. Ma then came over and wrapped her arms around you and Elizabeth, giving you a tight hug. It didn't take long for Mom to join in, putting her arms around the both of you. Love you. Love you was cute. We really couldn't have asked for any better, kiddos. We love you. More than we can ever say.
Aww.
Moms. He's smushing me. You all chuckled, the rumble of laughter just shaking while as you continued to hold each other tight. Love you too. They both pulled back eventually and grinned at the two of you, and you knew that you all had each other, and you always would. Well now, since we're all here, how about we do something together as a family? That sounds like an excellent idea. We should have some fun before the night's over.
Totally!
I love the sound of that. Yeah, okay. Why not? You had the smile that threatened to tilt your lips, knowing that Elizabeth must have been in a good mood if she hadn't even chose for being part of it. And no matter what she could have said about it, you wanted him to be here. The two of you had practically grown up together over the past 5 years. Who's got a suggestion? It should be something we could do together here in the house with everyone in the same room. We could just put on a movie. That'd be wonderful.
Yeah.
It's good to me.
Me too!
Yeah. You're happy with watching the movie.
Alright.
I'll cook up some popcorn, the rest of you can pick a movie. Your mom's headed off to the kitchen, and Mom turned to face the rest of you. What do you have in mind? Everyone else can decide. I'll watch anything. Anything but drama. We don't need more of that today. There would be some Czechoslovakia jokes, and you thought about what you would prefer to watch. I would prefer to watch a horror movie. Cool. Perfect. With the basics settled, Mom turned to sorting through the DVD collection. You didn't notice that Elizabeth was sliding up to you until she was right next to you, arm to arm. Since there's only so much room on the couch, I say it should go to Luna and I. This is our day. Wait, I want to sit with you too. I'm small, you won't even notice I'm there. Elizabeth raised a skeptical eyebrow. Not so sure about that. Mom stood back up with the DVD in her hand and a smirk on her face.
Please?
I want to sit with the cool kids too. Surely there could be room for one more, right? It might be a tight fit, but we can make it work. You could tell that Mom was teasing, and Elizabeth rolled her eyes at where this is going. She had expected an easy victory. I bet you want to sit there too, huh, Cove? Mom tapped Cove on the shoulder with a DVD in the case. He laughed awkwardly at her teasing. I want Cove to sit next to me. Elizabeth snorted from beside you, but you ignored it. It made Cove grin, and that was enough. Mom came back with a big bowl of fresh popcorn, and you hailed the smell of a hot, salted snack. What's the skinny? We all want to sit with Elizabeth and Luna, but there's not enough room on the couch. Mom took that answer in stride and pursed her lips thoughtfully.
What a pickle.
It's definitely a problem. I suppose there's only one solution. Elizabeth and Luna will have to sit on the floor in front of the couch. That way there's spots behind them and on the floor to sit out their sides.
Yes.
Oh, yes, that's fair.
Rude.
What? No, the whole point was us getting the couch for ourselves.
Sorry,
that's the cost of popularity. Elizabeth groaned and crossed her arms over her chest in annoyance. Fine, Luna, you're with me in front. The rest of you can fend for yourselves. There was a mad dash as Mom and Lee raced for the couch behind you, and Elizabeth and Mom put on the DVD player before joining them. Cove took a seat at your other side on the floor, giving you a small smile. Everyone soon quieted down, and the only sounds to be heard were of a hand scooping up popcorn and munching it down as the movie began. In that moment, you couldn't have been more pleased to be part of the family you had. Aw, that's certainly nice. But with that, I hope you guys have a good day, night, week, month of your lives, and may the stars forever guide your path, forever might lead you to the future. Bye-bye, everybody, and hope to see you guys next time.